Kingdom Hearts is a strange game collection, you know? When quarantine hit, I was on that state of don't panic, and one of the things I've managed to do to break that stress is finishing old video games, or even try to play games I've missed before. And one of those was for sure the Kingdom Hearts saga. The thing with it is, we are talking about a recent PS4 compilation made to cash on the newly released third game of the trilogy. I'm talking about the story so far. This package compiles the original games from the PS2 era, the PSP Birth by Sleep ones, the 3DS Dream Drop Distance, and a couple of ones they just turned into movies so you could unravel this mess of a plot. And I'm far from a critic. I play or watch the things in which I usually see some kind of fetishizing ideas, my guilty pleasures. I can relate to overly boring movies like Meet Joe Black, or even find some enjoyment in a couple of Michael Bay blockbusters. There's the escapism thing of it all. What I think of these games is kinda like a mixed bag, and mostly because I had a PS2 but skipped the entire duology. Basically playing Metal Gear Solid 3, Silent Hill 2 and 3, or even the first Devil May Cry. I just said to myself back then, okay, this Kingdom Hearts thing looks kinda cool, I might be playing this someday, and more than a decade, crap, 18 years later, I'm so old right now, I've decided to play the whole damn thing at nights and weekends, or sometimes when the PC was rendering stuff. What can I say? Was I disappointed after 18 years hyping it all? No. And we can conclude the video right here, so bye bye. But I kinda want to develop my reaction to the whole thing, you know? It's kinda boiling up inside of me. And I can say your enjoyment of these games depends on your order, the order you've played them, you see. I played the 2002 game first and concluded that since it's the first Kingdom Hearts, in this whatever, this saga, we should start from the first one, and it delivered. I found myself both enthusiastically waiting to know more about this colorful universe. Who were these characters, their backstories, the whole thing behind the idea of realms or kingdoms, where you could blend Square Enix characters and have the rainbow of Disney worlds to use in this canvas. It kind of reminded me of an early 2000 Hallmark miniseries called The 10th Kingdom, which I loved back then. It was a similar premise, but if you are one of those who, like me, enjoyed back then, just like with MacGyver, try not to watch it right now. I found it amateurish, and some gags lost most of their punchline. That's why it's called rose-tinted glasses. But for a less millennial reference, it's Once Upon a Time meets Final Fantasy. Even with the early 2000s plots and mechanics, I found myself playing this freshly coded HD version and totally forgot its age. The pacing is manageable, the gameplay, even for Square standards back then, gives us a real-time action battle system with some RPG elements, wink wink Final Fantasy VII Remake. We play as Sora, a kid who wants to go to this typical hero's journey to get out of the island and save both his waifu Kairi and husbando Riku. He crosses Disney characters on his journey and forms a party with Goofy and Donald. Donald assists with a long-ranged wizard stance and Goofy is kinda like a tank. Each character has equipment and boost slots, you can configure them as well. There's a behavior list where you can choose how they can assist you. The story revolves around an invasion of shadow creatures named Heartless, who are consuming the realms and are being commanded by a Heartless who assumed human form called Handsome. And he wants to open the door to Kingdom Hearts, a weird symbolic gate that looks like the one in Full Metal Alchemist. What is Kingdom Hearts? It's light! At least it's what the characters say aloud. Kingdom Hearts is light. Whatever. It's more like the Upside Down in Stranger Things. The game fulfills on its premise as a bittersweet ending, but for me, Sora's journey fulfilled its promise to find the husbando and waifu and gain the true meaning of friendship or whatever. The game is a complete package, making you grind for hours in the Hercules Olympus Coliseum, where you have tournaments to compete and level up, and good luck trying to beat Sephiroth. Yes, he's in the game as a mystery fighter. Well, spoilers. Okay, cool. After beating the story of this game, I went and played the second one. So, what the hell is this? Trying a bit of TLDR and avoiding over-explaining this plot, you see, in the ending section of the first game, there's a short fraction of time where Sora has to sacrifice himself to save his waifu and husbando, and in this section of time he managed to become a Heartless. By doing that, it seems that Sora has created a nobody called Roxas. And what is a nobody, you say? It's like a part of his essence, a fraction of someone who becomes a Heartless, is caught in the ether and creates an identity for someone else, something like that. You see, Kingdom Hearts 2 introduces the Nobodies and Organization 13, a council of nobodies. They want to become real people, they want to have a heart and become real life boys, just like Pinocchio. In the first section of this game, Square throws you a Metal Gear Solid 2 and you end up playing as Roxas. Meeting his friends, his ambitions, it's all like a fever dream, and it's in fact a simulated reality. Then Sora wakes up from a coma and Roxas is lost, it's just gone. Sora's waifu and husbando are gone too. Riku was closed inside Kingdom Hearts in the end of the first game, and Kairi is in their original island beach world, having dreams of a guy called Roxas, a girl called Namine, and about the guy, the villain you fought in the first game, Handsome, he's back. And then you learn that this guy isn't Handsome, he was never Chris Hansen, he was the nobody of a guy called Handsome, okay? And this Handsome the Wise guy is like a wizard inventor who was experimented with hearts and he gained dark powers. He also changed his name to Diz, Darkness and Zero, and in the end you realize that this Handsome Heartless was never the Hansen you beat in the end of the first game. This one was the Heartless from another guy called Xehanort. So in the second game you've been encountering the first Hansen, but it's not him, and it's not the Heartless from Xehanort. Who is him? It's actually your husbando Riku in disguise. So, for me, Kingdom Hearts 2 just goes downhill. I know there are plenty of fans from the game, it has high value in many things, the plot simply isn't one of them, it's overly complicated. It gives you a lie, a conspiracy theory, and in the end it blames everything on the Organization 13, Xemna's guy, who is the real nobody of Xehanort. Who is this Xehanort guy? Why are there so many nobodies of him? Are they like Horcruxes? Is the creator of the Kingdom Hearts games, Tetsuya Nomura, doing an overcomplicated retcon? I'm gonna say yes, it feels like it. Especially because I was now starting to look like that conspiracy theory meme guy and started playing the third game. And oh boy, it wasn't easy. First of all, the third game is a culmination of the Sora storyline, the Xehanort revelation plot, the Organization 13 nobodies that are connected to Xehanort and Chris Hansen, and also the culmination of the Birth by Sleep storyline. What is Birth by Sleep? It's like a zero game of the overall story. You see, after the first game, Square developed this game for the PSP. You would play the timeline of three characters, Aqua, Terra, and Ventus, who are about to become Keyblade Masters. Yes, I forgot to explain the lore of this magical sword key thing, but that's another mess. Let's just say they work like the electronic screwdrivers in Doctor Who, and you can use them as swords. They have magical impact on the plot every time the writer needs them to. Being the power to open or close worlds, resurrect or destroy people, they would probably use as well to make tea or pay for your Netflix subscription. So Birth by Sleep tells us the story that came before the first game. This trio end up meeting with the child versions of Sora, Riku, and Kaori, giving them inspiration and also in ways influencing them to become the future Keyblade Masters, wielders. These characters from Birth by Sleep are sealed, gone, or in a coma, or They are hiding as some other guy. During the duration of the original PS2 duology games. And in the third game, it's another plotline you need to be worried about. Concluding with the defeat of Xehanort, he used time travel, yes. That's another thing we needed in here. After a convoluted plot to open a magical realm, create creatures that are made of emptiness, and the overall quest for waifus, husbandos, the resurrection of gods, the search for missing heroes, and resolving multiple side quests in each Disney worlds while upgrading your weapon and gummy ship for fast travel. You have a guy who traveled between many timelines, has split and disguised himself, manipulated everyone like in a chessboard game, and they actually showed that chessboard game in the third one. And for what? He had husbando issues with a guy named Ericus. So the third game really shines. It's pretty, it's like I've said, it's a beautiful mess. Every world tries to adapt the style of the Disney fiction, from a more hyper-real Pirates of the Caribbean to a more blocky Sora, Goofy and Donald and plastic action figure style. There are high values in there, but the main plot is a huge detriment for your enjoyability of the overall thing. You need an entire encyclopedia, hours after hours of games, movies, books, whatever, to connect the pieces in your mind. Pieces that are forced in the world, with characters having more than one name and identities, being disguised of someone else or looking like the person you remember, but they are another guy. I'm looking at both of you, Roxas and Ventus. It's too much, man. I think the saga just needs a fresh start after all the commotion with the third game. Now it's over. Xehanort redeemed himself in a way. He's gone. Sora is gone too. Or living in the real world, depending on the end you had. I'm looking at you, Full Metal Alchemist Conqueror of Shambhala, and it just needs to either stop or refocus on something simple. The first game wasn't a very complicated plot. It was accessible and had a straightforward story. It just needs that fresh push. Kinda like, I don't know, kinda like Birth by Sleep. That was the game I played in the end of the saga. That's why I said your enjoyment depends on the order of these games. It's kind of like, yeah. I will skip talking about Dream Drop Distance. That one adds zilch to the overall experience. And Birth by Sleep, yes, that was the approach that should be done for a Kingdom Hearts game. It's a simple, effective story with twists and turns for sure, but because it isn't dragging an entire encyclopedia of plot lines and games and movies and whatever that came before, you can switch off your conspiracy theory guy meme and just enjoy getting to know all these characters while exploring the Disney worlds. I don't regret the whole experience. It was somewhat frustrating trying to run the story in a couple of months, but there are very enjoyable pieces here and there. Some of the designs are very well made. Gameplay wise, it's effective and refreshing having Square Enix doing real-time action combat, and Sora, Goofy and Donald are convincing as a trio of mates. But will I recommend playing the whole thing? Well, man, if you want to kill time or do something of an escapist resort to the pandemic thing going outside, sure, do it. I recommend Birth by Sleep for a keep it simple, stupid approach, and the first one for the overall Sora package. Then the third for graphical fidelity. I don't know, Kingdom Hearts is now a pop culture icon. It must be respected for it. I have no rose-tinted glasses because I never played the games when they came out, so it's like this beautiful and perfect gem. It has its value, but the more you stare at its cracks, its twisted shape, the more you feel it could have been so much better looking. Or story-wise looking, but that's life. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for the art, stay for the rants, or otherwise click on the art stores for merch, and I will talk to you later. Toodaloo.